Hey folks, welcome back. On today's episode, we have a very special guest, the one and only Sunaal. If you have not heard about him, you've been living under a rock, because he is the man in so many ways.
To flatter me too much.
I heard that they call you a hero of the West. You're rising so quick. Your dance skills and everything. You're like a movement on your own, unintended. So tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe like a fun fact, a little bit about your background and who you are.
Yeah, well, I guess the first thing is that I'm not from Canada initially. I grew up in Dubai, so I have spent a lot of my time outside, and then I came to Canada 2012, and I've been here ever since. And it's been really cool. I really like Canada generally, just because of the people, the diversity. Mm-hmm. Dancing is a cool story because I joined when I was in university, and it was joined it because I wanted to meet girls.
He's honest.
As many of us do.
That's right.
Right?
I don't know why you would do it for the girls.
Yeah.
I do it for myself. No,
Sure.
We all have our motivations, but I like honesty, bro. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
I mean, I was in engineering. There's like 100 guys and like 2 girls, and both the girls were taken. So I had to go out there, and I went to an all-boys school.
What?
So it was kind of crazy.
Talk about motivation.
Yeah, motivation, right? But I joined because of that. But then I found a lot of joy that came out of dancing. Not just from like making friends, community, but also like creativity and just like exercise and all of that. It was all rolled in one, so I really liked it. I did performance teams for some time. Started with salsa, performance teams in university, and then I realized performance was great, like good team bonding experience. But then I really liked, social dancing. So fun fact is that I like social dancing a lot more. Maybe not so probably obvious for people who know me well, but social dancing over performing for me. Yeah.
How long have you been dancing, and how long have you been dancing bachata?
So the first class I ever took was in 2014. I think 2014. Yeah, it was from the Waterloo Cuban Salsa Club. Yeah, and so it was started with Cuban salsa, and then bachata was like a year after.
Okay.
Once I got comfortable. Back then, sensual was not really popular, so it was more bachata modern and stuff like that. And you would just watch Daniel Desiree videos and try to think, oh, this is sensual, and try to replicate those moves. Yeah. But it wasn't that strong then.
Yes.
So
dude, you've been dancing bachata for a long time.
Yeah, but it was on and off. It was like 2 years. This is really cool. It's still a hobby, right? And then I stopped like in 2017 for 2 years.
Why?
Because I got a girlfriend. So.
Shit. Damn. No more dancing for you, Sunaal. Get back over here.
It's crazy. We were
too
both
sensual.
I think we were both dancers, but I kind of
not even in Dominican style.
No. It was nothing about the dance. I think it was just we wanted to spend more time together. So it was.
And she was not a dancer.
She was a dancer, which is the crazy thing. But it wasn't like out of like
why do girls do that?
It's not about her. It's not a girl thing. I don't think
it's a you thing.
It's both of us, right? Would you rather spend time dancing, or you just want to spend time together, right? And we were so into each other that's what happened. But in hindsight, it was a mistake, because you gotta, I think dancing was a part of me that made me whole, I think. So in the future, I would keep some part of that, right? Without just like, dancing. So for me now, dance is a part of who I am. It's not like a means to like back then I think it was a means to like find people and like date maybe. But now I see it a lot more. It's not just like a hobby, it's a lifestyle, and it brings around a lot of personal growth. So
nice.
Yeah. So
bro, I didn't know all this about you. Okay. And you also have like a work side, right? Do you mind sharing what you do for work?
Yeah, so I work as an ML engineer, machine learning. Cool. Right now, I like to do very different things. So my background is kind of mixed. I did electrical engineering, mechatronics, like a mix of mechatronics. So it's like it's a mix. Cool. Yeah, it's a mix of mechanical, electrical,
mechatronics
software. So I designed like electronics for wearables. So like things that could measure like the state of your health, like your heart rate, things like that.
Cool.
And then I moved more into machine learning and healthcare. Cool.
We're back.
Okay, we're back. So what were we talking about?
We're talking about your background in terms of work.
Oh yeah. So I'm an engineer. Like I love all things tech. I love building stuff. I focus, like, value-wise, I like working on things that bring impact, like, generally. So I work in, healthcare is a big space for me because I feel it's something where we can use tech for good, right?
Cool.
So I work at this company called Sanofi. It's a huge pharmaceutical company. Recently they went like really heavy into AI and digital side of things. So I work with their research and development team, helping them use AI to design better drugs and therapies.
Cool, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's my work side.
Yeah,
that's why I wouldn't do dance full time ever.
I see.
Because I love that too much.
And it's a good balance because it's an expensive sport, right?
Yeah, it's expensive. So if you ever see me going to Europe, it's because of my other job.
Well, I was gonna get to that, right? Like, you're traveling all the time for bachata, dude. Yeah. I want to reincarnate as you.
Okay.
What countries have you been to?
Yeah.
If you can highlight that for bachata.
So for dance.
For dance, what countries have you visited?
Okay. Well, it's not a big list. Like Spain mostly. I've been a few times. Barcelona, Madrid, Malaga, Sevilla. So all these places have their own scene.
Yeah.
I've been to Switzerland for one of their festivals. So a lot of dances from like Germany, France, obviously Switzerland, and then Denmark. So Copenhagen was my most recent visit. And I went to Mexico too.
Nice. Where?
I went to Mexico
Cancun
City.
Or Mexico City.
Yeah.
We were just there.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it a great scene?
It's a nice scene. Yeah.
People are so chill.
Yeah. A lot of dances, a lot of socials, right? So it's cool.
Anywhere else?
Dubai, yes. Oh yeah.
How about Poland?
Poland, not yet. This 2025.
Oh, bro, we might go with you.
Let's do it.
That'll be amazing.
I heard it's one of the best for social.
That's what I heard, man. Like thousands of people, two huge arenas, something crazy like that.
It's crazy. It's huge.
Bachata Endo, right? That's what I saw in the same movie. So that's something. Bachata amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, Poland, and then I've been to US many times.
Really? Like different places?
Yeah, mostly like I've been to DC, the DMV area, so I have like close friends.
It's big there, right?
Good, yeah, it's big, really good scene there. I have some really good friends there. Shout out to Janine and the crew there.
What's up? Janine and Mikru?
And the crew.
Yeah. There's a crew.
There's a crew. It's a good crew.
What?
And they are like amazing. So they'll come visit sometimes. I travel to Spain with them too.
So cool, bro.
So a lot of good friends. Like that's like one thing that I really like. Like when you go dancing somewhere, it's not just like, oh, you go dance and like dip, or train and dip. Like you dance and you leave with like memories and also connections with people that kind of last longer than your typical, say, travel connections.
Yes.
Because there's like some deeper level of connection because of dance.
Yes.
So even when I went to Copenhagen, like I met like beautiful people from like Sweden and Denmark itself.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Very cool, bro. You've been like all over the globe for bachata dancing.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite destination, and if you can give some of your favorite highlights?
Yeah, I think hands down Spain, and it's not comes to no surprise. Like that's where Bachata Central came from, and I really like the energy of the Spaniards, like their dance, their passion, and they're very open. They welcome you. Like when you dance with them, they are very receptive to you, and you can connect really easily.
Really?
Yes, I love that. I love Spain. I think it's very hard to pinpoint a favorite festival. I really liked Copenhagen. It was kind of a surprise for me. It was the first time they did this Copenhagen Bachata Festival. But the vibe was like really chill. Like people were really like, there wasn't like a lot of ego. There was like people were really open to dancing with each other, connecting, and the level was very high, right? Really? So you had really good dances because people were generally like, even though they were dancing for like 6 months, like the level was very high.
Did you feel intimidated at any point?
Oh, for sure. I felt intimidated all the time.
But I heard the ratio of girls in Europe in bachata is a lot more than guys.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Like, give me an example. Like, how many girls to guys?
I mean, there's always girls waiting.
Really? Waiting?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to...
like the opposite of Toronto.
It's opposite. That's why you
go there.
If you go to Europe, you feel like a king. That's
really?
Bachata. You'd feel like underappreciated. You
what?
come back. It's a reality, right? And that's just because there's a lot more women there and really good dancers too, right? So obviously you'll feel much more much more like a king in Europe. I think.
Wow.
And I think all leads like feel the same.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So that's one thing. I mean, not to say that it's as like every European country is as welcoming. Spain is definitely a bit more welcoming to leads, at least.
Interesting.
Follows have had different experiences.
Really?
Yeah, I think because there's a lot more follows, right? And so the leads have more choice. And if you're an outsider, you may feel like you may not get always the best dances, or you may have to wait. So it's a different experience compared to here.
Interesting.
Right, where there's a lot more leads, so you can.
So fascinating.
It is, yeah.
Different world.
Different world, yeah. I think the Zouk scene is kind of like that here.
Yeah. Do you do Zouk as well?
I've started to learn. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long you been doing Zouk now?
A couple of months, I'd say, on and off again. But this 2025 is the year.
It's the year.
For a new haircut and
He has the haircut.
Yeah.
He said
The
before,
Zouk haircut.
before this, he said he's already in 2025.
I'm in
So
2025.
we're speaking to Sunaal of the future.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
gonna be an amazing year. I'm
Yeah.
really excited. It's gonna be amazing for Toronto. It's gonna be amazing for bachata.
Yeah. We have amazing things lined up.
Meloditas coming out in January, right?
Yeah. And our festival, Level Up Festival.
When is that happening?
June 6th to 8th.
Nice.
So we have tickets that are on sale now.
Who are the artists coming?
We have Clara Ross, Christian Gabriella.
Nice.
Who else is there?
This will be their
and
second time,
Charlotte.
I think.
Yeah.
Nice.
Isam and Charlotte. Masa is coming.
Really? Again?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
We love Masa. He's
Yeah,
awesome.
So there'll be like a really good mix of all different styles.
Cool.
And we'll have Jack and Jill. Clau is actually helping us organize
You're
that.
talking about Clow and Ross?
Yeah, Clau and Ross.
What? They're coming back?
They're coming back.
I
yeah.
love them.
Yeah,
They're
so
awesome.
It's going to be great. And Level Up this year was like, I think, if not the first, my second favorite festival.
Dude.
Like-
but you're very involved in it, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm helping organize it.
Of course,
So there's
yeah.
like a couple people involved, so
Sweet.
it'll be really cool. Yeah, and they're really excited for that. I'm also going to be going to Asia to dance for the first time.
What? Where?
Next year, Japan.
What? Why Japan?
I like Japan.
Masa invited you?
No. It's on Masses Festival.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going for like non-dance. Not everything's about
Oh.
dance, right, guys? We can do non-dance
Wah,
stuff
wah.
too. Yeah.
Cut, guys,
Yeah.
cut. He didn't mean that.
Yeah.
Everything is about dance.
In the spirit of not being addicted, I'm going on a tour. So a couple of dance friends. So obviously,
All right.
we try not to dance, but obviously
Try
we're
not to
gonna-
dance.
We're gonna
I can't help it.
We're gonna
dip.
find a festival like the day we land. Okay, we're going to
Shit.
this. So yeah, that's exciting to go see the
Nice.
scene on that side. I heard it's really good.
Yeah. Really? In Japan?
yeah.
I'm surprised. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So
We were in China,
Yeah.
but we didn't get a chance to go to Shanghai.
okay.
We were in Guangzhou. We found that we didn't really delve deep into it, but
Yeah.
we didn't see the level of dancers that we wanted to see. So
Okay,
maybe
okay.
it was just a timing, but
Maybe, yeah. Social sometimes are like hit or miss. Like
Yeah.
that's why festivals are good when it's
Right.
like if you're just going there for like that one thing, maybe it's
Yeah.
the best sample size.
yes.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm excited. Like Toronto's scene is growing.
Yeah,
And
right.
a lot of great instructors.
You've been in Toronto for how long now?
Toronto since 2018
What has been some of the biggest changes you've seen since then?
for dance. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think first of all, we've always had like a big dance scene here in Toronto, like salsa, huge.
Yeah, it's
Right.
been around for a while.
A lot of socials too.
Yeah.
So we've always had like a lot of dancing in Toronto. But I think what's changed is Bachata Central has actually formed like good, like proper roots here.
Yes.
In the sense that by roots I mean like people have trained in what Bachata Central is, right? Like whereas before there's a lot of modern bachata with sensual styling, and the techniques were very different. So bachata central kind of like as with any dance form, it evolves, right? And for the better part of it, it evolved to be less like hurtful to followers. Like so, a lot of the techniques have changed.
It used to be more hurtful, you're saying?
Yeah, like some of the movements like were very forced, very rough, right? So
Not just because the dancers were not trained, but because the dance was new, or
yeah, the dance was new. It was kind of this fusion style, so it wasn't like people still dance it, right? I mean, everyone dances their own style. But the reason I prefer Central is because, like as it is now by Korke Judith, and also like a sense here, people have their own flavors of it. Like the new Central is more like is designed so that you can dance longer, right, and without injury, right?
Yeah.
So movements have been evolved, and they require a lot of training. It's not something you can look at a YouTube video and just like start doing. That's how you break your neck, right? Like,
or you break your partner's neck.
Yeah, exactly. So
which would be also very unfortunate.
Exactly. So now it's actually cool. The biggest thing I've seen is like people have started training hard, like a lot, and not just in Toronto. Like you've gone outside, got the trained, and then come back, and people see, and you see that in socials, like at Fiesta X. If you go on a Saturday night, we'll see people doing a cambre with proper technique, right? Like not everyone, but like, you know, it's growing, it's getting there, right? So that's a good shift. That's a really good shift, because in the West, that's something that's only developing recently, even in the States.
Interesting.
Right? And Toronto, I still think is like one of the best places to dance in outside, say, Europe.
Really?
Right now.
Wow. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah. So
Toronto's where it's at, outside of Europe.
Yeah. So I mean,
you are the hero of the West.
Yeah, I've been traveling, and you know, I do miss it when I come back.
Yeah. Oh man.
You know, we still have a long way to go, but I think it's like that's the biggest change. I think.
Cool.
Bachata Central, my favorite dance is actually evolving here, which is good.
That's cool, bro. And I'm so grateful that you're part of it, because you bring a very unique flavor, and you bring this kind of like silent leadership, if I can say that, because you don't have to say much, but people respect you. You get a lot done. You have influence, and you're humble about it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the spotlight as much.
Oh, here he is, spotlights, kind of brighter.
I try to stay out of it, but yeah, that's kind of like, that's how I like. I don't like to be in the center, so that's also another reason why I'm not like trying to be an artist, because that's part of the gig where you have to promote yourself a lot more publicly. So right now that's like not my goal. I like to do things in the shadows. And
like a hacker.
And I'm starting something in the new year. It's like a shadow training team.
Cool.
A stealth training team. So I'm working.
Related to bachata or
bachata?
What?
Yeah. So
What is a shadow training team? I'm picturing ninjas in like the shadows, like wearing these costumes.
Actually, it is pretty much.
Is it?
No, it's not. It's the essence of training in the shadows, where like I'm basically trying to mentor a few social dancers to really emulate what I went through, and like what I really liked about like training and social dancing. Cool. A lot of it has to do with not just like being posting videos or like being too public about things, but actually like just like training hard, and you show up like 2 weeks after and people are like, whoa, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I got that a lot, and it motivated me to keep going, and I wanted to share that, like, my way of training with.
Bro, this is so exciting. Yeah. So you're gonna start a new training program. Will it be just focused on leaders or also followers?
Both, but specifically focused on social dancing. So it's more of we have a lot of great performance teams in Toronto, like amazing, and I think we lack that for social dancing. We don't have a social dance kind of training team.
Interesting.
So I'm trying to cultivate that a bit more.
This is fascinating. I'm interested because
awesome.
I already respect you as a person, but also as a dancer.
Thank you.
And I know so many followers just love you because you make them feel comfortable. You're a great dancer. You're always like leveling up by yourself even, and you come back from like Europe, other trips, and all of a sudden it's like, you're even better. You're like, just when we thought, okay, he's a great dancer, now it's like, oh, he's an even better dancer. It's cool that you bring it all back and you're sharing it with the community.
Yeah.
What are your hopes with this?
I just want to see more dancers, more people who love social dancing and also love growing in social dancing. And I want to like push it as, as I said, not just like something that you go on Friday night to have fun. Like that. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's a lot of like opportunities to do that, and you can still do it.
You didn't say Friday night on purpose, did you?
No. Friday night, Saturday night, Thursday night. Nothing.
Not to get into the politics.
Yeah. But like, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, I think like there's a place for that, and some people want to do that, and there's a lot of opportunity for that. But there's not a lot of like opportunity for people who like to train and who want to like, it's like part of their lifestyle to do this on a Saturday night, to go social dancing or to like meet up with friends like and do a practice, and they get joy from that, right? more like things where you can do this without alcohol. You know what I mean, right?
It's so cool, right?
So for me, I had
I
had to go outside Toronto to get that, right? Because and then now in Toronto we're seeing that. So I want to push more of that and kind of share that with people who don't have that, right? Because I was in that position 2 years ago, right? And I didn't have any of that, so I went out and I pushed for it, and that's how I got it. But not everyone's crazy enough to spend thousands of dollars on trips, right?
Right.
So
I was gonna say it's very expensive.
It's very expensive, so I want to cultivate that. That culture here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive as it is locally because you have, granted we have all these great artists coming to us, which is amazing. It's just big savings for us. But still, like on a weekend, you can easily spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Not to mention your time, the commitment. It can be exhausting, right? 8-10 hour days training. But this is what it takes, right, to really level up if you want to get better. If you right.
It's a mix of like the fun part of it is also the training to see yourself like grow as a dancer, but also to share that journey with other people, right? And that's why people love performance teams, right? Because you spend like 6 months and it's not all like fun, like you're like being like drilled by like your coach, right? And you're like, oh shit, like I messed up, or I look like crap, you have all these things going on, so it's not always pleasurable, right? You go through like pain, but that's part of what gives you happiness, right? Like over long term.
It's the journey, it's the growth, it's a sense of camaraderie with your fellow dancers, all that, right?
And also like that in turn, like when you do those things, it builds your self-esteem, it builds your confidence, it builds your ability to connect with people and yourself, and this is one way to do it in dance. I'm sure like there are other trades and other things you can do, like maybe like filmmaking or like podcasting, things like that, where you're growing like content creators, right? But it takes some level of dedication to grow in the craft, to see the benefits of that in your personal journey, right? If you just show up for like a night out dancing for fun, it will be fun, but you're limited in terms of how much it can contribute to your personal happiness or growth, right? But if you want to pursue that, that's a whole separate thing. So that's the culture I want to try to push here. It's big in Europe, and in Asia actually, like the people are crazy about. I've heard really crazy about development in dance.
Really?
So
is that where Masa gets it from? Because I'm always seeing like training videos in the gym. Does dancers train, and like, was it a joke or is actually
I think he's not. I think he's definitely like doing that. Like
he's doing it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like
he's an amazing dancer.
He's amazing.
He actually has fun. Like he's like, he feels the music. It's almost like the music is slow-mo for him, and he's just grooving and having fun, and he's really connected to his partner, really connected to the song.
Exactly. Yeah, you're just experiencing life in a way in those moments. I like to think about it like that, right? It's like you're training to grow, right? But you're also training so that your dancing becomes a much better experience, right? So you can like unlock, it's like a video game, you can unlock different levels by getting better, right?
Cool.
So exactly. Yeah.
The coins.
Yeah, get the coins. Yeah.
Bro, it's so cool. I love like riffing like this about what we love, which is dance,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you don't really get a chance on the dance floor necessarily or at a festival to talk like this on camera. You can I was interviewing Kevin not too long ago. He was also in Europe. And he was saying, how much of a great time he had, how he bonded with all these guys, and they got to chat. And you were telling me too that a number of guys got together, they started a podcast. I feel like it's something that is very therapeutic, and at the same time it's very needed, because there's so much that needs to be let out, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think as leaders, we have a different experience than followers, and I think you can appreciate that. Like we've been hearing about a lot of followers getting injured lately.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, what? And like serious injuries, and they'll be out for like weeks or months. And it's nice to be able to talk about it,
of course,
and see how as a community we can resolve our biggest issues, or our or exploit our biggest opportunities as a community.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, followers getting injured is like really important, like really sensitive issue, right? And like I said, it's like I think it's one of those places where there's they're people that come out for fun, right? And I think obviously bachata comes from Dominican Republic, right? And the Latin culture have different way of connecting with the dance, which we respect, right? The roots are what we need to respect. But when you try to do both, like you're trying to do sensual and you're trying to have fun, like sometimes you ignore techniques, and that's how people get hurt, right? So I think like there has to be a clear line between the two, right? Where you still like respect the roots, right? In a way, but you don't try to like have fun and then do like double cambre with a triple turn, right? Like that doesn't work. And I think people,
unless you're Hero.
Yeah,
And Migle.
yeah, exactly. and you're doing a professional demo.
Oh my god!
Right? So
the moves they do.
It's crazy. Exactly.
We were in Montreal.
Yeah.
Sorry to stop you, but
yeah.
you gotta share this story.
Yeah.
So we're in Montreal with Hera and Migle, right? Because we drove them there, and their last night they had a performance at this club. I'm not gonna name which one because I know they have big hearts, but their space had really low ceilings, like lower than this room. And part of their routine was he was gonna toss Migle in the air.
Oh wow.
And they had to like reformat their routine 5 minutes before they went on.
Oh wow.
And not only that, they had like no air conditioning and like just it was the ventilation sucked. I don't think it was made for dancing, that place.
Yeah.
But it was like it reminded me of Cuba but not in a fun way. Like Cuba, it's like you're like in a movie, right?
Yeah.
We went to a local club there, and it's like the room is steaming, and they have like all locals, and there's like a video playing, reggaeton on the wall. It was a different vibe. But when you're in like a developed country and you're like expecting certain things, and you're an international artist, and you show up and you're expecting to throw your girl in the air, but now you can't. And not only that, you're sweating even before you start dancing. So it was a little embarrassing as a Canadian, because we want all these artists to have a great experience. I'm sure you agree with that. You brought a lot of artists here as well.
Yeah.
You're continuing to.
Yeah, well, not personally, but I helped. Obviously the organizers are the one that actually bring them over.
Right.
But I do help source and like connect people.
Nice.
And I do go abroad, take lessons so that, I'll be able to know, okay, this person's a good educator or this person's a good social dancer, things like that.
That's cool. You got the inside scoop
The
for
inside
us.
scoop, yeah.
I love that. You're like our agent.
Yeah.
Toronto 007.
007.
/ Hero of the West.
Yeah.
So I have a few other questions for you. Like I feel like they're juicy because I've been meaning to ask you.
Sure.
Because from your perspective, right, you've been to all these amazing festivals all over the world. You've met all these great dancers. You know all these artists. Who are some artists that you're dying to have come here, and why?
Okay. I think Corky Judith would be definitely.
They've never been here?
I don't think they've been to Toronto. They've been to Canada. They've been to Vancouver.
Wow. There's an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Jarrell, Monica, like huge Vancouver, and they're ambassadors for the program.
Oh,
so
they are, okay.
I think they have a festival coming up.
You brought Jarrell and Monica, right, last year?
So they're coming again
in
2 weeks. Yeah, help bring them. Yeah, they'll be here in 2 weeks again.
Yeah. I love them. They're so chill. They're so down to earth.
Yeah, great, amazing dancers too, and great teachers.
And as Canadians, man, they really shine for us.
Yeah, exactly. So we should be very proud that they represent us.
We should show our support to them, to you, to all the organizers, really, because of them, the artists come to us, and we actually have a platform. And, and Toronto is now on the map.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the artists, right, that I would like Corky Judith for sure, because they're the founders, and it would be. I think they're good teachers, I think, and they have an energy that kind of excites you.
Okay.
So I think anyone in Toronto should experience that.
Yes.
Other artists, I'm trying to think. I think a lot of people have come to Canada. Like if you think about like the biggest artists, like Louis Andrea have been here. I like to attract actually. I'm thinking more like artists that are not as well known.
Okay.
That I'd like to bring to Toronto.
Would you like to share who?
I don't have anything specific, like there's too many.
All right. But what are your top like 3 or 4 that you were like, I love these guys. I would love for them to be here.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to. It's too much. Like I can't pick one over the other.
It's X-Files. Cannot share it.
but like that's what I like to do in Europe. Like well, one of the artists I would say is Isam and Charlotte. So they are bachata central ambassadors or like instructors like from Spain.
Okay.
And I've heard they're really good from we went to Central Week, like in Cadiz, like that.
Right.
That's their flagship.
Kevin was telling us about it. He said it was amazing.
So a lot of the instructors there are great. So they, a lot of the bachata sensual like instructors, ambassadors, I would want to bring. Let's say, if I was to give an example, so Sam Charlotte would be one.
Yeah.
Irina and Thomas. They are like really good teachers, but they're also really good like social dancers, have really good vibes. So I think they come to US quite a bit. They come to even Vancouver.
Yes.
But
they haven't been to Toronto yet.
Toronto not yet, right? So
wow, so much opportunity, bro.
Yeah,
So exciting.
So I would love Islam Charlotte will be here in June.
Yay.
So at least we have one of them coming.
Yeah.
But I think Bachata Sensual, like their training, their the ambassadors would be great to bring here. Yeah.
Very cool. So what are some opportunities that you see aside from us leveling up in Toronto? What other opportunities do you see that, like, because you get to see the contrast, right? You go from here, you go travel all over the world, dance all over the world. One of the things you said is that we have a lot of leads. Lead to follower ratio is far greater.
Yeah.
What are some of the opportunities that you see that you're like, if you could wave a magic wand and have it change, you'd be happy with it?
Yeah, I think this is something I spoke to a lot of the like people in the scene here, like organizers too. Like one of the biggest issues is that like we have less followers, right? And I think we need more followers to join social dancing scene. There are a lot of followers who join performance teams. Like I think that's not been an issue. Actually, there's more followers. Like usually they try to find leads for performance teams.
Right.
Followers, there's a lot of followers that go to performance teams, and we have like every congress you see there's like 100 teams. Like it's crazy how many people are performing, right?
Right.
But in social dancing, not as much. And there are probably many reasons for that. One might be something that's not entirely in our control. It's the culture in the West is different, right? Like for a woman to go out dancing is seen very differently here than it is in Europe, right?
Right.
I think the culture is different, right? So
how is it different? Like how do they see it there, for example, in your perspective versus here?
Over there is just like, a dance is a dance. It's really open. Like people want to go out dancing, they go. They don't have any kind of like, they don't have to worry too much, I think, about, like, will I be like safe or like,
Really? Okay.
say in Spain, for instance, right? They have lesser, maybe they're more open to doing it, and also there's more like training and more like people that are there. There's a bigger community, so I'm not sure. I feel like the culture is more acceptable to that maybe, whereas here people kind of stick to themselves a bit more. So there could be that aspect, various factors. Also because people are more multicultural here, so it might be different cultures might see dancing differently. Right? Like as in like, if you're like a conservative Indian and I don't know, your daughter is like going and dancing bachata sensual every Saturday.
What are you doing, beta?
Exactly.
This is so wrong.
Yeah, so you change that. Well, you can't really.
Is that your background? Are you Indian?
I'm Indian, yeah.
Like Indian from India?
No.
I don't know. Like it could be like West Indian. Who knows?
No. Indian.
Indian from where?
I'm from South India.
Like Kerala?
Kerala.
Oh yeah, the land of the dosa.
Dosa, yeah.
Dude, the south of India has great food.
It does, yeah.
Have you been dancing in India?
Dancing in India? No, I haven't actually.
Cornell and Ritika, man. When are they coming? And were they supposed to come?
Yeah, we're supposed to come, yeah. They're huge now. They're like top 5 in the world.
And they're from India.
Yeah, it's huge.
Wild.
They're big. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, as I say, like, the culture is different here, right? I think like that's one of the issues to be figured out is how do we get more followers to just join our scene. A lot of it has to do with what we can control is like making our classes more geared towards follows. So I feel like tendency is classes tend to rely on more on like teaching the lead. This is how you do the pattern,
right? And
like the leads just get most of it, and the follows don't really learn how to follow as much, or they might learn like some styling here and there, right? But like just learning styling is not useful for social dancing, right? That's a part of it, right? The same applies to men. Like men's styling is not useful just by itself, right? So I think first thing classes need to be geared more towards both leads and follows, right? So like we should be okay with like leads being bored for a bit, so that we can focus on the follows. And I think people are doing that, and that needs to change. And then 2 is just making our scene more safe for followers, including like injuries, like people getting injured, but also like if there are bad apples, right? And if someone's not feeling safe on the scene, there should be a way for us to help them.
And when you mean unsafe, like, can you be a little bit more specific? Do you mean like there's stalkers? Do you mean there's
stalkers,
like gropers, or
all of the above? check
injury makers.
So injury, I would say, is separate. So maybe like that's like poor technique, right? So that's more like a dance issue, right? But then if there's more of a people issue, which is like someone's harassing you, or you don't feel safe because this person's stalking you, right? You should never feel like that on it.
Do you think that happens a lot here versus other places?
I think it happens. I'm not sure actually.
Okay.
I don't have any like.
But you've heard of it.
I've heard of it here, yeah, and I think it's one of the reasons that kind of stopped.
That's so sad, bro.
It's sad, yeah. Like if you go to a club in Toronto, you can like as a woman, you're definitely going to feel like some form of unsafe, right?
Bro,
like,
that makes me so sad. I actually had a friend, not gonna mention who, but someone put something in her, not at a bachata party, but at a very famous club here in Toronto, drugged her with water.
Damn.
All right? And thankfully, the bouncer was paying attention. He's like, something's not right here. He pulled her aside, and she lost control of her body. And he took her aside, and he saved her, and she went out, she vomited, they rushed her to the hospital. The police came, and they're like, you know what, you're the second girl from this club tonight that had this incident. Some dude did that, it was like, for me, when I heard about it, it was like so heartbreaking, because it's like, this is a dear friend of mine. But this shit happens, man, and for it to happen in Toronto, not in the dance scene, thank God. But that's one of the benefits that we don't. Most of the bachata scene here doesn't have alcohol, so I think that helps a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
But a lot of it also has to be with like people being proactive and also teaching the followers. Okay, what can you do? And who can you go to if you need help?
Yeah.
Or if you feel unsafe.
Yeah.
And also making it like doing our part to make sure that everyone feels safe there, especially the followers.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think we should move past the days when. When you see something that's unsafe and you kind of not do anything about it.
Oh, that used to happen?
I mean, like, generally people, I think, like, it happens in clubs, right?
That's so sad.
It happens
tragic.
It happens in clubs where, like, it's just, you're also unsure what's happening, right? Like, I think...
you don't want to get involved.
Yeah. And it's a nightclub, like, that's like these things like...
You don't want to get stabbed, you know.
Like, if you see something, you move and act right away, right? But sometimes in a nightclub, it's just so messy that things can slip, right? And that's...
And people are under the influence. Exactly. You don't know what they're taking.
Exactly. And you might be drinking too, so you might be compromised too, right? Correct. And but in our socials, we should do like our part to help like protect.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, women are the ones that are more at risk, right? So if we feel like there's some lead that's like, groping or like, and you see that the followers, like, first of all, there's no groping, like that's totally unacceptable, right?
It's not part of bachata, guys.
Yeah. Even like we don't do that on a social dance floor because we don't set the norm.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's I would say even when it's consensual, right? Like it's not something like that's for outside because we set the norm because if someone sees that, they think it's okay when it's not, right? So these are like unspoken guidelines we have, right? That we have to uphold as a community.
Right.
So if we see someone like being there's some groping happening or someone's feeling unsafe, we have to intervene, right? So that's kind of on us, in a club, it's not our thing, but in our community, like in a club we would try to act, right? But in a community we have more power, so we should act a lot more.
So some of the things that I do to, like, when a new girl comes into the community, I welcome her, we welcome her, and we'll say, okay, listen, you have us if you ever feel unsafe.
Exactly.
You have the DJ, this is his name, I'm going to introduce you. This is the organizer, this is his name.
Amazing,
if you ever feel unsafe, you can drop these names, you can go to these people. If you don't feel comfortable in a dance, you as the follower set the distance. You can say no, you have the right to say no at any point. Don't feel shy about that. So we give them like some pointers and some basics, and I feel like a lot of times they just feel relieved talking to somebody that is looking out for them, and it emboldens them and they feel a little bit safer. Not all girls need that. Some girls are pretty badass, they can handle themselves, But nonetheless, I feel like they feel very appreciative that, okay, people are looking out for them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's really important, And I think like Toronto right now, at least on, what I see on Saturday nights, because that's the one I can speak for because I go there often. I don't see a lot of it, right? But there's always bad apples, right? And it's when we have those like cases that happens, that's when we need it the most, like the safety net, right?
Yeah.
So
is there a protocol right now in place, like when that happens?
It's similar. Like if any of the instructors, or like as you said yourself, if you see something, you act, right? So it's kind of these unspoken things, but we wanna set something that's more like, obviously fail safe, right? Like in case you're not there on the social, right? How does this new girl like?
Right.
How is she protected? How does she know what's okay? What's
right.
Like how to act? How to like set
right.
the boundary in the dance?
Right.
Like these things. So this has to be done in a more systematic way, maybe.
Yes.
I'm not an expert in setting the policy, but
yeah, I don't think it's
needed.
I don't think it's easy, but it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
And ironically, it's not always a stranger or a new lead that does it. It's like I had a friend come to me and say, "Hey, I was just dancing with this guy. It was like 3-4 a.m. I'm not going to say which bachata social, but she's like, he was under the influence and it went a little too far.
Yeah.
And she was shocked because she's like, he's my friend. He's he never crossed that boundary before. Yeah. So it was very like shocking and sad at the same time. But this stuff happens, and I feel like people need somewhere to be able to go to feel, heard, and know that it's not right.
Yeah.
And like we as leaders also need to be vocal about it. That like, hey, if you're a guy coming out, be sensitive. That you're dancing with another human being. You know what I mean? It's not just a piece of meat. You're not going to just any nightclub or whatever.
Yeah,
you're not grinding with your girlfriend.
Exactly.
That's your personal business.
Yeah.
But you're coming to a social, a dance social.
Yeah.
In most of these, there's no alcohol, there's no drugs, whatever. But people do their thing.
Yeah.
But if have some self-control, some self-restraint. Because like you're impacting the dance community.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And there's a ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
Like some of these girls, they'll never come back.
Yeah. We've seen cases like that, which is sad, right?
It's so tragic.
Yeah. So like that's the thing. Like it's one of those issues we have to like find a way to solve. It's not been like I'm sure there are worse scenes like than Toronto for this. Like, but like it can always become worse, right? As we grow without.
Yeah. I feel like as long as there's one incident, it's one too many.
It's one too many, yeah.
And
even one is too
us as a community, maybe we come together, we form a coalition, let the girls lead it, and be like, okay, we're gonna have a certain number of men, a certain number of women, and here let's set up a protocol, let's set up a fail safe for these dancers, and maybe when they walk into the club or they walk into the social, here's a pamphlet, these are your the people to call, this is what you can expect, and introduce them to 2-3 people that they feel safe.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And they're looked after.
Yeah. So we have this like actually Salma
I saw that. And Fernando had something to quote.
Yeah. So Salma and helping us like come up, and Tatiana is also big in the scene. They're helping us come up with a rule of like etiquette. That I think the first step is education. Like people should know it's kind of general knowledge, but some people I think take advantage of the fact that it's not vocalized as much,
right,
to like make these moves that they know is not right. But because it's not vocalized as much, they kind of get away with it, which I think the first step is just like vocalizing it more and more, like in your classes, make sure people know, like, hey, this is not acceptable in social media,
Yes, I feel teachers need to like empower the followers
100%
and say, look,
and
Salma does that so good.
Yeah,
Salma, you do an amazing job. I love you. You bring my inner feminist out. You're amazing. I was assisting with her at El Rancho for several weeks, and man, I didn't have to say a word. This woman is a beast. Like, she knows how to just balance both men and women, and also at the same time bring out the feminine voice. Because I feel like it's important, especially now, right? Because there's all these young girls that are interested in bachata, but there are some guys that don't have the best of intentions. Yeah, it's one thing, okay, you're looking to pick up a girl, but it's an entirely different thing if your intention is to grope her, rape her, drug her, hurt her, scare her, molest her, put her down, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Or you do it even accidentally. Could it be avoided? Let's talk about it. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's really important to get people like Sam involved in this, right?
For sure.
And help driving it.
She's a strong vocal advocate for, empowering followers.
Yeah, exactly. I think the bottom line is like the social is not a club, right? It's not a club, and a lot of people see it that way. Even like not even dancers, just outside. Like if I tell my friends, non-dance friends, I'm going to dance social, they think I'm going to club, right? But in Europe,
clubbing all the time.
Exactly, like they just see it in that light, right? And I don't blame them. It's just like that's what I was saying. It's part of the culture here.
Right.
And people don't understand that you go out just a dance with no alcohol until 2 a.m.
You have no agenda, so you're not. Now that we've been dancing for so many years, we don't have an agenda to go pick up girls.
No, I'm just.
We might have like years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's just like it's fun. We're connecting. We're meeting our friends. We're dancing.
Exactly.
We're having good experience. We're leveling up. We're practicing. All those things. Exercising.
Yeah.
Socializing.
And you go and you dance, and it is sensual. It is close. It's intimate, right? But it's not a club. You're not trying to like get something else. There's no ulterior motive there, right? So and sure, like in dance, like you fall love, you do find people, right? But the point there is like you pursue that outside, right? Obviously, like dance itself is not enough.
Which is wise too.
Romance,
having been in the having been in this for a few years, you would agree that like because it's a small community, what ends up happening is if you have a breakup. And you've been with there are two dancers, it can be really ugly because you've seen the same people and their friends everywhere. So it's better to kind of keep that out anyways, and
there's nothing
advisable. I'm not going to tell you what to do, what not to do, but
dating a dance is tricky, but it's not to say that like obviously it can be beautiful, but it's something that you don't like go out every like other week and like fall in love with like a new girl, right? And then start a thing of playing there, right? Like that is like that's just gonna wreck you. That means like you're just there to pick up chicks, right? Or
it's
even as
bad
a girl,
for your
maybe
reputation. It's gonna be bad for the community.
Both for both men and women. Like
both,
it's not
both. Yeah, you're right.
So like that's when like that's what people would do at a club.
Right.
That's why I say like social is not a club, right? It's like to me it's kind of like it's weird, but it's kind of like church.
It's kind of like church.
You have something you believe in. Shit. You have community.
We're gonna get a lot of hateful comments here. What'd you say?
Nothing.
You never leave room for Jesus.
Yeah, like it's same and like obviously like in church, like because I used to go to church as a kid, right? Like
you're Christian. Oh, that's cool.
I'm not as religious now, right? But like you wouldn't like you come there to meet friends, connect with spirituality, and you have this purpose. So it rejuvenates your soul, and that's what like this social is for people like dancers, right?
Take me to church.
Take me to church. Yeah.
You gotta make a bachata version of it.
Take me to church and just like it's like instead of hallelujah, it's just like a bunch of body waves. Like.
Yeah, bro. But I get what you're saying because there's a sense of respect, reverence that you come with, and actually I feel that very much. Yeah. Because I don't know if you would agree with this, but a lot of people, are going through their own journey, right? Yeah. And you don't know what kind of day they've had. Yeah. You don't know what problems they have at home. Yeah. They're coming here to just enjoy themselves.
Exactly.
And so it's a great space for people to uplift each other.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's obviously everything. In moderation. It can, if you dance a lot, like, it can and takes other portions of your life, like your health,
right?
Your family. It can be unhealthy, right?
Like any addiction,
like anything, right? But dancing, when done like to a good amount, like a appropriate amount with other aspects of your life, in
just 6 days a week.
Yeah, 6 days a week.
10 hours.
Yeah,
a day.
10 hours a day. But those things can be like dancing is one of the most beautiful things you can do, right? Like it helps you combat a lot of things. Like I think it's one of the few activities that is very effective in combating, say, depression, right?
Yes.
Like I don't know about like clinically, but like generally, like this just your state of mind, and so having social connections, making friends as an adult, incredibly hard. Easy to do in dance, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of benefits to it that kind of get overlooked, just because as I said, the culture here, right? Like even to this day, like my friends, every time I say I go dancing, it's just automatically a funny thing to them. They just assume like I'm macking on chicks. Like then meanwhile, I'm just like enjoying my time. I have friends. I have like no dates. I'm like just living life. Like I don't have anything. Like but they think I'm like some kind of player, like doing all these things. So it's the image, right? So, but
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Because my parents think that I'm making babies on the dance floor every night that I go dancing.
Exactly. That's what it is, right? And so
I promise you, I'm not doing that. I have so much respect for these girls, and like, I enjoy it. They enjoy it. Yes, it's intimate. Yes, it's sensual. Yeah. But it's definitely not sexual, and it's definitely not what you think it is.
Yeah, and it's just also like, okay, speaking of culture, right? In Spain, they're very comfortable with their sensuality.
What do you mean, like, for example?
Like they're not afraid to be sensual, right? And they don't see it as anything else. Okay, right? It's an expression, right? Yes. Like there's the other part, there's like sex, which is separate, right? Yes. But then there's sensuality. Whereas here we're more like closeted in terms of if it like sensual is like
we might think it's one and the same.
One and the same, like people are afraid to express it because they're afraid of what other people think, and that contributes to this. Like why do your parents think like that? Why do my friends think like that?
Right.
Because they think, oh, I'm being sensual to get like sex, whereas this is like a difference in culture, right? And sense. I would also think like my friends before dance, right? It's only because I was exposed to this lifestyle and to people who taught me differently that I learned it, right? So I don't blame them. It's just this is the difference in culture, right?
What do your parents think about your dancing?
Oh, they hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
What do they say?
I mean, they don't really say much. It's just like they're just waiting for it to stop. To be honest,
they're waiting for it to stop.
Yeah,
the music just keeps going.
They keep going, and and it's hard. I mean, there is some truth to it, right? Like, say I'm trying to.
Are you the only child?
I have a brother.
And he doesn't dance?
He doesn't dance.
Older, younger?
Older. Yeah.
Does he look like you?
Kind of, yeah.
Is he jelly that you're dancing with like 100 girls every week?
Yeah, I think so.
Dude, just take up dancing. You'll be like Sunaal.
Yeah, I mean, I think like
the Mac Daddy.
I think a lot of non-dancers are like when they see a dancer dancing with beautiful women, like as a guy, there's like natural jealousy, right? And women have it differently.
We can understand that.
Yeah, we can understand.
When we weren't dancing and we're like, oh man, these guys can dance. They got all these girls lining up.
Yeah,
Like
it's like I think women have the shorter end of the stick there. Like if they were to kind of have the same like an Indian woman. She might have like more like, what are you doing? Why are you dancing with all these guys?
Yeah, right.
Never gonna find a husband, all this bullshit,
You'll
right?
You'll never get married. Yeah. No one's gonna want to make you a bride.
Yeah, all these things. So it's a shorter end of the stick, right?
Wow.
Where
I thought it was just like, I have a Muslim background, right? So I was thinking, it's that background. But you're Indian Christian, but still you get...
Still, yeah.
Wow.
I think it's, not...
And as a guy, imagine the girls, man.
It's a lot worse, right? And that's probably also the reason why girls don't come up to, right?
Wow.
It's not acceptable. So
that's sad, man.
Yeah, it's sad. So, and that's why, again, Europe, like, that's all this is in there.
So I have, like, a radical, it's not the solution, but it's a solution.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? Okay, so I'm thinking, one, that girls should be free before, like, a certain time. Let's say 9-10 p.m., all girls are free to come into the social dancing.
Okay.
That, I feel, is going to attract a lot of students. It's going to attract a lot of girls. It's going to attract a lot of... Because, in these economic times with inflation, everything, job market being what it is, I feel like people do feel a little bit squeezed financially. Mm-hmm. And if you can give an incentive to the girls to come, just like clubs do, right?
Clubs do, yeah.
I think it could be smart because
100%.
the leaders will come anyways. They'll be like, oh, this is the place the girls are at.
Yeah.
Not that we want to attract those kind of guys, but
the leads come because they're trying to find things to do, right? And be active.
If there's not enough followers, it sucks. And like, I've been to certain socials, I'm not going to mention which ones, but like sometimes there's not enough followers or good followers, and it's just like, oh, I should stay at home. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you ever get that feeling.
Yeah, for sure. But to be clear, it's also not just about attracting more women generally or follows.
Right.
It's, because also men can follow too, right? Like now it's more like fluid.
Yeah.
But it's not about attracting more like follows necessarily. It's about attracting more follows, not just to the social, but to training, right? Because even with new follows coming, they just come to the social and they don't learn much. Like our dancing level is never increasing. So I agree that's a good idea to get dancers would come to socials. So people who are already training, a lot of followers can
incentivize them to
incentivize. The other thing that's really important is to promote like a lot of our instructor followers and leaders in the like leading followers, right? In the scene, like Tatiana, Yael, Margarita, and there's plenty more.
Yes,
like Kat, Greta, like
they're awesome.
Amazing. Like we need to push them more into the spotlight to help them. Like women can see them and be inspired. And it could be lady styling. Yes. They could be doing a workshop.
By the way, I do that all the time. Because like people approach me or I get to see them at different places and they're new to the scene.
We recommend.
And I'm just like Tatiana, Kat, Greta, Yael, because, and even you, it's just like anybody that I can think of that I can point them in the right direction, or like Igis, like I want them to have a good experience. I want them to have, and I let them know that there's a lot of great teachers in the scene. You have to see who you vibe with.
Exactly.
Because everyone brings their own culture to it, their own style, their own flavor, so it's amazing. We have a beautiful, thriving community, and I feel like it's like we can just help plug people,
Yeah, exactly. And with specifically what I was saying about like the follows, right, is to like promote more like, for now I think it's like follow styling is more popular, but somehow help that connect to the socials, right? So like if you're doing a social, follows are free, but then there's like a follow styling class right before the social, and that allows followers to feel more comfortable, more sense of community, that there are other women out there and they're growing together. Like give them that space to grow, and not just push them in a class where they kind of feel like themselves, because followers, it's hard to talk to other followers, right? And that's something I learned this year. I did men's styling a lot more.
Okay.
Right?
Like teaching or learning?
No, learning.
Really? Where did you go for that?
Like whenever I went to the festivals, I did men's styling.
Finally, somebody doing it.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things missing in the Canadian piano scene.
Yeah. I think Khalid was doing a lot of that, which is amazing.
Yeah, they went to Spain for it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Good job, Khalid.
Yeah. But I find that really cool because it's kind of a very different experience, and if you haven't done men's styling, I would recommend it, because I think
you're always like giddy about it.
It's so fun. You're just out there with your boys, and like you're just like having fun and shooting the shit, right?
Nice.
And there's no one to impress. It just reminded me of like being back in an all boys school.
Yeah, you feel like all of a sudden you're like a Backstreet Boy or something.
Yeah.
In a boy band.
It's fun, and it helped me develop like
Backstreet's back, all right. I don't know if you know that song.
No, Backstreet Boys, yeah. No, but it's a great experience, right? And so
you did it in Europe under who?
I took a bunch. Like did under Pablo.
I love Pablo.
Amazing.
Damn.
Style.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he's great.
He's always biting his like lower lip when he's dancing. You gotta see. Sherry and I watch his videos on repeat sometimes, and he's like dancing, and if he has nothing going on, like he just goes like that. All of a sudden, he makes it really super sensual, almost sexual.
His styling is incredible. Like it's like he's probably the best in terms of styling as a lead.
You know who else I love? Yair.
Yeah, from Florida, right?
So good, bro.
Yeah.
He was here.
Yeah. He was amazing.
He's so good.
His styling is like one of the best.
Bro, he's so good.
Yeah.
He used to be like a go-go dancer or something in the back. Yeah. That was his background.
Yeah.
He has so much confidence on camera.
Yeah.
And it's like he's making love to the camera.
Yeah.
Dude is amazing.
Yeah.
And you know who else? Andy and Sylvia.
Oh yeah.
So good, that guy can move better than most girls.
Yeah, that guy is
Damn.
That guy can follow really
He's
well.
amazing.
Yeah.
So you let him?
No. I mean, I've seen.
You've seen him?
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, what was I talking about? Just generally, like.
Yes.
Like
Pablo, you're talking about.
Yeah, Pablo. Like men's styling is really fun, but to bring it back home, like women's styling, like that could be an instrument to help like women feel more like involved and in the scene, and give them like encourage them to come out more to social. So I talked to like Carl about this a lot, and he knows this, so he's promoting that.
Nice.
So hopefully we see more of that in 2025.
Yes.
And I think it's working, because I see kind of more women like training. And coming out there. So as long as we keep doing it, I think it'll get better.
I think it's giving them more confidence too, because they're learning to express themselves in a different way. They're forming this kind of like almost like a bond with other girls, other followers, and they're getting to express themselves in ways maybe that they haven't been able to.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the beauty of dance, and uniquely for followers is like as a woman to be able to do certain moves. I've seen it through Yael and her Inspira Ladies. I don't know if you've been watching their videos. My God.
Yeah.
I
love that.
She's brought the goddess out in each of these women.
You need that, like
so beautiful.
Much, yeah.
And then the other person that I love is Tatiana. Like she can dance traditional and she kicks ass in it.
Yeah.
She can dance sensual. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's also going international, like you, traveling all over, dancing all over.
Yeah, she's like probably the hardest working person I know. Really? Like in the dancing, like she works really hard.
What do you mean?
Like just in terms of how much she puts, she gives like 110% all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like in the trainings and in
training,
practice?
in the teaching,
Really?
she does a lot. Yeah. So like wherever she got, she's like it's on her own merit. Like
I feel like Yael is like that too.
Yeah, and
oh my God,
it's great that we have new people coming. Yael was here this year, I think, right? I'm so happy.
She's been here, I think, a year or two.
Yeah, I'm so happy there's like follow instructors or influencers in the scene that are here, and I hope they continue to stay.
Yeah, we gotta support them.
Support them, exactly. So yeah, if there's anything I can do to help.
Yeah, you already are by being here. But the other thing you can do to help is let's bring some of these people on to this podcast. Give them a voice.
Yeah.
Let's bring Tatiana.
Yeah.
She's so well respected, just like yourself.
Is,
and I feel like, she does give a lot.
She gives a lot, yeah. And she's growing a lot, and her community is growing. She's like traditional is also growing a lot. Like obviously, she's training with Kim, and Kim has done a lot for bachata scene here.
Yeah.
And
especially traditional,
yeah. And it's really cool because Toronto has good sensual now and really good like bachata. I think I would just call it bachata in general. I don't try to call it traditional. I just call it bachata.
Yeah.
Right. So they've done a lot of work for that scene here, and it's really cool because not every city has that. Right. Such a good roots and sensual, but there is always some kind of divide, and Tatiana has done kind of a lot to help bridge that gap, which is great. So it would be great to have her here.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. As we land this plane on this pod,
let's land it,
you tell me, is there anything else that you want to share, you want to ask, you want to vent, you want to bring up?
Let's see. I think just generally, for Toronto, like social dancing wise, I think we need just to be more welcoming in our scene. Less cliquey, more welcoming, and
amen.
Like we need to make an atmosphere it's not about like the ego in the scene. It's about you win, everyone wins kind of situation, and try to promote that in our socials, in our training. Because that's something I've seen in other cities go bad when people start to get really cliquey and only dance with a few people,
right? And
only talk to a few people. We don't want that. That's something. Good. Yeah, it's not good, and that's what I really work hard to push that.
I think a lot of people say that about Toronto, that when they go dance elsewhere, they're like, oh, Toronto, the dancers think that there's something special or something, and so they act like snobby for almost no reason. It's like, why? You go to a place like Mexico and everyone's dancing with each other. Their level of dancing is quite high, and they're not egotistical about it. They don't have attitude about it. They don't just snub you because they think they're better dancers. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And social dancing is not about fame or level. It's an experience that you connect with other human being. It's not about looks. You don't only ask girls who are hot to dance. Or you don't only dance with people you think are high level, even as a lead or follow. So I think that's one of the things I would try to drive home is we need to kind of change that. 2025, we're decent, but we need to be better.
Cool, bro. Yeah. That sounds awesome. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Shout out Tatiana, I think, for her new studio and all her efforts for 2025. Doing great there. My friends have another podcast.
Nice.
Average.
Give it out.
Shout out to Greg, Ryan, Janine, and Jean.
Are they all guys?
Yeah. Janine is their unpaid intern, but all good friends of mine.
Sweet.
They have a podcast, Your Average Dancer podcast.
I heard it was so chill.
It's really chill.
I felt like I was in a dorm room with these dancers.
I love it. So anytime you guys meet up, maybe you could do a collab.
That'd be awesome. Where are they based?
DMV. Yeah.
Nice.
So a bunch of them are from Baltimore.
Driving motor vehicle? That's what I think of with DMV.
The like DC area,
Okay,
Virginia,
okay, cool.
DC, yeah.
Oh, cool.
They're amazing. Who else? Carlib. I'd say Carlib. A shout out to Carlib because he's done a lot this year, and he's
brought some amazing artists.
Yeah. So big shout out to him for whatever he's done.
Nice.
And lastly, shout out to you and Sherry for all the amazing work with like all the channels on IG and everything you guys do.
Thank you.
It's amazing. I love people that share their passion and like are passionate about stuff, and you guys are very passionate, so I love that.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
And you've been one of our early subscribers. You're still a subscriber, and really appreciate you for that.
Of course.
Because you put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
And it's respectable because it's a lot of work, as you can imagine.
It is a lot of work, yeah.
But it's awesome because we're all doing our part to put Toronto on the world stage.
Yeah.
And we're very proud because today we have great artists from around the world that want to collaborate with us.
Yeah.
Who are we? We're Bachata Toronto. Like, what's Toronto? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like everyone's doing their part. Carlib's doing his part. You're doing your part.
Yeah.
Tatiana's doing her part. Everyone.
Yeah.
And so many people that we haven't mentioned. But it's like, this is how we're going to elevate Toronto. This is how we're going to elevate Canada.
Yeah.
It's like everyone, put your egos aside, see how you can help each other, and let's all rise up together, right? Like I'm picturing a wave coming, and we're all in boats, but it's like the wave is lifting all boats.
Yeah. It's not a like zero-sum game, right? We all grow up together. That's like part of my values, and I think that's what we'll do.
Bachata Spartan.
Bachata Spartan.
T-shirt.
That's a good one.
All right, brother. Thank you for this.
All right, thank you.
This has been awesome.
Appreciate it.
Love you, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Peace out, guys. Catch you on the next one.